So, my goodness me, Star Wars.
Thank you.
I mean, fantastic. So I think I read that you were a drama student.
Yeah, I was 18 years old in 1977, and that's the first time I saw it. And I went to see it 3 times when it had just come out. So if you told me then that 42 years later, I would have, at the age of 62 and 3/4, I would be in the final one. It's like a dream come true, genuinely, because I've been such a fan, as I know you are.
Yeah, I know. I'm obsessed. I mean, it's an extraordinary franchise with so many amazing things about it. So when the call came in, how did the call come in? How did you get involved?
2 months before the shooting started, I got sent 4 pages of an interrogation scene from a 1940s, obviously B-feature war movie, and because I knew that and I didn't say what the characters were or what the project was, so I self-taped that, sent it to my agent. He goes into cyberspace, you never hear anything again. And then 2 months later, I got a call saying, J.J. Abrams, the director of Star Wars, wants to meet you at Pinewood Studios because you sent a self-tape. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And then the agent said, it was an interrogation scene. So I went and walked in the Carrie Fisher office building that he was set up in. And Daisy Ridley was sitting in the office as well. And I thought, well, what am I going to have to read? And I asked in advance, do I have to perform or learn something or tap dance or whatever? They said, no, you just have to go in for a meeting. And when I walked in the door, he then said, so you're going to do the part or not? And I said, what part? And at that point, literally, it felt like the room went upside down because he talked to me for about an hour and I couldn't remember the name of the character or the plot or anything. And he just, all I could think was, I've been offered a part in Star Wars. I've been offered a part in Star Wars. So I prostrated myself in front of Nina Gold, the casting director who'd, plucked me out and, offered me to come and have this meeting. So that's how I got it. And then, of course, you have to keep everything under wraps, in Fort Knox-like security for the entire time that you shoot. You weren't given a script. You couldn't take any mementos away whatsoever. I didn't even tell my wife and daughter the name of my character.
No.
I lived in such paranoid fear that I'd be fired by Disney. So that keeps your mouth tongue-tied. And as you can tell, I'm a gabster. So I'll try not to make my answers as long as that one.
And your General Pryder baddie.
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to like him at all?
No, you can't like this person. He is, he's in the tradition of Peter Cushing's, who I absolutely shamelessly channeled, watching him for inspiration. I have the same hairline, playing Tarkin. So I thought, well, I see why I've been cast in that part. And there seems to be no issue, historically, of British actors playing bad people because it doesn't seem to offend any minority or any nationality other than the Brits. If any other nationality plays a baddie, somebody takes umbrage. But if it's a Brit, then there seems to be no problem with that whatsoever.
You were a fan at the beginning.
Yeah.
You were there for the final instalment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be bittersweet for me watching it because I don't want it to be over. Is there any hope?
Is there any hope? It ends with great hope, but it also makes you... I was absolutely emotionally wiped out when I saw it the first time.
Oh.
I was so moved by it and exhilarated at the same time. And I think, like anything, if you've been attached to something and it's been so part of the cultural DNA of our lives for the last 42 years, knowing that it ends is you want it to end, but you don't want it to end. So I think that's a good thing.
Oh, my goodness, it's going to be very sure to get involved with. Now, I'm a fan, you're a fan.
Yeah.
Have you begun to realise just the scale of Star Wars fans? Have you had people talking to you? I mean, this is the beginning of unleashing a frenzy upon you, isn't it?
I haven't really, because I knew by the scale of the premiere in Los Angeles, where they had taken over the Kodak Theatre where the Oscars are held, and then Grauman's Chinese Theatre, where the movie was originally premiered in 1977, which is next door, and then they had a cinema next door to that. So that it was premiered in 3 cinemas simultaneously on Monday night. And they had carpeted and marqueed the whole of this section of Hollywood Boulevard, which is like, taking half of Oxford Street and covering it. So I knew then that the scale of that was off the chart, and sort of media frenzy about it. And the response of the audience was like surfing through applause, laughter, tears. It was absolutely unlike anything that I've experienced before. So I knew from being in that partisan audience that it felt like something that I will never experience again as long as I breathe. But because we've been doing the press junket and then came from there to London to do the premiere here on Wednesday, and then another 2 days of being in hotel rooms, talking to journalists from all over the world, I have no sense yet whether, it changes anything. But people are passionate about it. I know that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna change your ability to have a cup of coffee in a quiet way. Not that you.
Oh, I
get
doubt
much.
that.
Oh, you think you can sneak around? Do you?
Yeah,
Without somebody coming up to you with a toy lightsaber.
If I was playing Daisy Ridley's part, maybe. But I'm a bad guy in a sort of subplot, sub.
Well, look, it's been a heck of a year, 2019. It
has.
started with the Oscars, coming to a close with Star Wars, and a small matter of Barbara Streisand.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Not a small matter, a big matter. I've been a fan for 50 years. So to finally meet her and spend so much time socially with her this year, and to see her in concert twice, guest ticketed by herself, was off the chart.
So the story about you and Barbara Streisand is that you wrote to her when you were very young.
Yeah,
didn't you?
I wrote to her when I was 14, and I then posted this letter that I'd written to her, back in the 1970s, on Twitter when I'd taken a photograph standing outside her gate in Malibu of her house. And then I was glad that I wasn't arrested. And then the following day, she replied to my tweet. So it was, if you're a fan of anybody, then you'll understand that. And of course, most people say, well, you shouldn't be a fan of anybody over the age of 20. Yes, you're emotionally arrested, but I stand guilty of that if that's the case, happily so.
So
are you a fan of anybody?
I'm a fan.
I know
of
you're a
yours.
Star Wars fan.
Clearly a fan of yours. I'm a fan of Barbara Streisand. I got to see her in Hyde Park this summer, and it was like one of those moments of your life, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, you understand then.
Did she live up to it?
And beyond. Yeah.
In what way?
I went to. I got invited to a private screening of a Julianne Moore movie at Donna Karen's house in the East Hamptons this summer while I was working in Philadelphia.
There's a lot of good names.
TV series with Sally Field. Yes, throw the names out. And so I got an opportunity to be there, and I sat next to her, lying poolside, and then I asked her husband, James Brolin, if I could just speak to her one-to-one. And he said, sure. And he went to the drinks table and had a drink. And I spoke to her as close as this microphone is to my face for 2 hours till 1 o'clock in the morning, till there was nobody else left there at this party. So, for a fan, it was beyond anything that I could have wished for or imagined. So, and I told her that I was having a 3-foot sculpture of her nose and mouth commissioned. And she said, you are insane. You are certifiably insane. I said, happily so. So I'm getting that on the 14th of January.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We finished.
You're going to post a picture of that?
I might do.
I love that.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
It's so good. It's it's an exact likeness. Yeah. So I'll have my own Babs.
And you can wander up and have a chat to her whenever you want. I love that. She may never speak to you again when she sees you with it. But
I don't know.
Oh,
live in hope.
Okay. So this year has been an incredible year. You've had a lot of incredible years. How does it rate to be in something like Star Wars compared with all the other incredible roles you've done?
Because it's, as you know, it's something that is unique in cinema history. There's no franchise that is equivalent to that. And because you're so invested in the characters and the stories, and the music of John Williams is so astonishing, it feels like I can't really believe that I'm actually in it. And I kept saying to my daughter, I'm sure I've been cut out of this. I'm absolutely sure. She said, your name is on the poster. You haven't been cut out of it. I said, no, I'm sure I have been cut out. She said, for God's sake, stop being so paranoid. So I was delighted that I actually made it to the final cut, because it does happen that people get cast in jobs and they don't make it to the final movie.
Not Richard E. Grant, surely they can.
It can happen to anybody.
That would be an outrage.
No, it can happen to anybody.
So what next for you?
I am playing a Sheffield old retired drag artist in the movie version of Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which comes out next October.
I mean, that's a good way to shake off, general pride, isn't it? In everyone's
Absolutely.
mind.
In the Jimmy Choo heels and a 36 double D bust. Yep, that's a big contrast.
And before that, there's a small matter of Christmas.
Yes.
Are you a fan of Christmas?
Yeah, I'm absolutely. 1st of December, Christmas tree goes up. I absolutely love everything about Christmas, and I eat a Christmas pudding once a week.
Do you?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't like Christmas puddings even on
Poor
Christmas
things.
Day.
Bring some to my house. I'll eat them all.
Really?
Do you not like them?
So I love a Christmas
Oh,
pudding.
good.
I make quite a good Christmas pudding, actually. If I'd not
Good.
been such a fan, I'd have brought one. But they, so
Next
they're
year.
not just for Christmas for you, Christmas puddings. They're all year round.
Oh, I'd eat one every day, but I'd need to be wearing 5 pairs of Spanx if that was the case.
That's amazing. And can I ask you what you're doing for Christmas?
Yep, I'd be at home with my family and 6 friends, all cooking and all eating.
Christmas puddings, presumably.
Christmas puddings, yeah. Although half of them don't like them, so it's even more for me.
Perfect.
Happy.
It's win-win-win.
It's a win-win.
Now, we're Smooth Radio and we're all about music. And
Yes,
back
I
in
know that.
1997, you recorded a single, didn't you? To Be or Not to Be.
Okay.
Where you
right.
recited the well-known passage from Hamlet over a house track.
Okay.
Now, 1997 is a while ago. Surely it's time for a new
I'm
single.
glad this is
Richard.
radio because the blush that has gone from my toes to the top of my head is so crimson-like. Is there a chance for another single? No. But I do sing and dance in Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Ah.
So that's as close as I'll get.
So maybe the soundtrack of the movie we can
Maybe.
see again.
Yes.
Do you have a favourite Christmas song?
I think Kirsty MacColl's, that's...
The Pogues?
the Pogues, absolutely. There's just something about that is, I absolutely love. What's yours?
I think there's something about White Christmas and anything Nat King Cole is just...
Oh, I agree. And there is also the small matter of Barbara Streisand singing Silent Night live in Central Park in 1967 that is unbeatable.
And actually, her singing it in Hyde Park...
Yeah, she did. It was the first time she sang that.
Last summer in July.
Yep.
And because she's Barbara Streisand, nobody said, that's a bit weird.
No.
We all just went with it, transfixed.
Nice
didn't we?
Jewish girl singing a Christian, carol.
A Christian song about Christmas in
Absolutely.
July.
Yeah.
And we were all still spellbound.
Exactly right. We're on the same page here.